All right, guys, welcome back to another amazing episode of the Win and Play podcast. I am your host, Sean Gary, National Youth Speaker. Hold on. I'm sorry. That's my fault. I didn't do it like I normally do it. And when the kids see me, they say it like I normally say it when I shoot them their videos. So let me rewind that. Okay. It's your boy, Sean Gary. All right, National Youth Speaker and author of the children's books, Ricardo's Race, the activity workbook, and other children's books as well. So today we have a phenomenal guest on the show today. And before we get to our guest, you guys know what we do. This is the Win and Play podcast. For those of you that are watching for the first time, please like and subscribe. Those of you that are watching for the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and 100th time, even though we don't have 100 episodes, you've just repeated over and over because the content has been so amazing. Thank you as well. And we just ask that you like and subscribe. Share this with somebody who is a principal, a teacher, a parent, or any youth advocate, someone that works with the young people. This is all for them. This is content for them, but it's ultimately for the students. It's for the babies, because as this information gets shared, these tips and tricks and winning plays, to you guys, you get to implement them and pick and choose. Like, oh, I like that one. I got this knucklehead in my class that's been doing that same thing. I like how he or she handled that. So now I want to implement it. So guys, that's what we're here about, is helping each other to grow so that we can then pour into students. So now that we know that, let's get started. First thing that we do on every single episode is, this is the Win and Play podcast. So we want to win, right? Like in sports, it's like the win and play. So we have our rings here. So we get to enjoy a ring during our episode. So you get to pick first. You can pick out your ring and then I'll pick after you.
Nice.
Yeah. What you got? Is that?
I have blueberry.
Blueberry.
Blue raspberry.
Blue raspberry. Nice. Let's see. Sour cherry. I'm gonna go with the blue raspberry too.
You get to eat that?
Yeah, we're gonna eat it on the show. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
You mean I ain't got
Lips gonna be blue. Tongue gonna be blue. All that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. All right. So, time to get this thing started. If you can, go ahead and introduce yourself to these amazing viewers out there who are liking and subscribing right now and sharing this with all their friends and family and everyone that they know.
Hi, I'm Patricia McCullum. I am a former educator. I retired in 2020 after 31 and a half years in education. I returned back into the arena in a different setting. I still get to work with the children. Nice. I am an administrator now here at Imani After School Program. So I still get to engage with families, children, nice. The principal, the school, family, community, and that atmosphere.
Nice. Awesome. So 31 years in the game. Oh my goodness. That you have a plethora of information that you could share to all the viewers that are working with students to help them. I already know. This is going to be good. So what I like to do is start at the beginning. Let's go back. For you, it's not as easy as others because some may go back 7 years. Mm-hmm. Some may go back 10, 11 years. Some 15, 20 years. But you got to go back 30 years, 31 years, and think hard. What was it? Or it could have been longer than that. What was it that happened that you said, you know what? I want to work with youth. I want to work with students. I want to become a teacher. I want to become an educator. What was it that happened for you? Share that story with us if you can.
I remember being in a junior high classroom, and I'll never forget it. And we take this assessment test that tells you like what your career path will be.
Okay.
As far as I can remember, my career path was going to the Army and retiring from the Army.
Wow. Okay. No teaching in there.
No teaching in there. When I took that test and it gave me that gauge of being an educator, I was thinking like, no, that's not what I said I wanted to do. Fast forwarding it a little bit further, when I got to high school, we had vocational classes then.
Okay.
I enrolled in a vocational class which dealt with childcare. So At the same time, you can earn your high school diploma and get a 2-year certification into early childhood education.
Nice.
And I pursued that in the vocational career field
Okay.
of going that path. Graduating from high school with scholarships to go to college for education is what I set out to do.
Nice, nice. That's awesome. So, what was it like when you first got into a classroom? Like that first, what were you teaching? How did you get to that school? Like, how did you transition?
Actually, coming out of the field into education after graduating from high school, before going off to college, I worked at a daycare.
Okay.
Back then, it was called Lido Park Child Development Center. It was housed in the Anna Louise Inn. So I worked there while going to school, which gave me a lot of insight to, okay, where do you really want to go? Do you want to work with early childhood? Do you want to work with older kids? So then the certifications back then were K through 8th grade. The certifications kind of changed a little bit. So I went ahead and got my certification, went to school. At age 21, going into the classroom, I was kind of taken back because I went into a high school classroom.
Okay.
And I wasn't perceived right. I wasn't perceived as well. Like, how you gonna tell me what to do? You ain't that much older than me.
Yeah.
And, so I was like, okay, let's try this a different way.
Right. So they all knew you were very young, just right outside of. Okay.
So I did. Then I switched gears. I went down to the elementary.
Okay.
I went to an inner city school, actually, where I went to elementary school, and went back. It was back then. It was Heberly Elementary School.
And where are we talking? What city are we in?
We're in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. Okay.
Cincinnati, Ohio. It was in the West End.
Okay.
And so I went back. I said, let me go back to the community where I grew up, where I went to school, and let me see what impact I can have on the children and the people in the community there. And I went there, and I started out there at 2nd and 3rd grade. And then we were deciding our school culture. And the school culture was kind of changing. And we were shifting to teams then. And so a team wanted me to come and be on their team, a 5th and 6th grade team. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm comfortable with the 2nd and 3rd grade. And but then I thought, well, it could possibly give me some more insight to what I'm doing. So I went ahead and joined that team, part of the 5th and 6th grade team. Phenomenal. Where there's other teachers who embrace you and help you along the way to guide you. And working with those people, I learned so much, gained so much. Then I had an associate's degree. They inspired me to go back to get my bachelor's degree and to go further. I couldn't have asked for a better set of teachers working on that team.
Wow, that's cool. Are you still connected with any of them?
I am.
Oh,
I
am. That's cool.
I am. I feel like I'm ever so grateful for those people. And as I saw them move up the ladder, it just showed me that you can be just as well as them, with the help and the guidance that they have given you. So.
Nice, that's good. Well, shout out to them watching, because they looking like, go ahead, girl. Nice. Okay, so you taught some different grade levels. So you had high school, you went down to 2nd and 3rd elementary school. And in the middle school as well? And
then, yes, I ended up going back to high school. We had a rift, and a rift is where there was a budget cut, shortage in budgets. Umpteen years ago. So I was sent to another school on the west side of town. It was an elementary school there. The schools were being redeveloped. And I did not like it there. Sorry to say, I didn't like it there.
What was wrong?
It was the culture. It was a different culture for me, coming from the culture that I was in. After 10 years of being in that area, I was like, okay, I want to go back. So the first set of interviews that went out, I interviewed. Lo and behold, when I interviewed with Dater High School. It's on another school on the west side.
Yeah.
The person that I interviewed with, the principal at that time, was Dr. Eby, who was my 8th grade English teacher.
Wow.
Who gave me that test.
So dope. Oh, he's the one that gave. Oh my gosh.
She's the one who gave me that career path test to where I would be and where I would want to go.
Wow.
So it was so much like,
that's cool.
This is destined for you to be.
Oh yeah.
So that following school year, I went in to teach there.
That's
and
awesome.
That's where I ended my career.
And what year? I mean, what grade was that?
I had 7th through 12th grade there.
Okay.
The first few years, I had 7th to 8th grade. Then I went on to 9 through 12.
Okay.
So I did the discipline spectrum. So I served the classroom for kids who were either put out of class, couldn't make it in class, needed some extra assistance in class. And so they came with me.
Wow. Wow.
And they were successful
out there.
And they were successful. Nice. And I finished out there my last 17 and a half years.
Wow. Are your students lacking confidence? How's their decision making in the school? What about their effort in the classroom? Are they giving it all that they really, really have? Well, these are things that, as a national youth speaker and author, I address in school buildings. If you are dealing with any of these issues and you would like to have a fun, exciting, full of energy presentation, assembly, don't hesitate to reach out. My website is SeanGary.com. How they think about their next choices will be different. Go ahead and book a discovery call with me, which we simply have a conversation about what their challenges are, what their needs are, and then I can share with you what I would say, do, what talks that I have that address those areas, and also what an assembly would look like. And yes, I'm pretty much there the whole day. All right, thanks a lot. Now back to the episode. And then you said, I can't stay away. I gotta come back and pour into the babies.
Well, I said, I'm done. I'm done.
Right, you're like, no, right there. I'm like, no,
I said, I'm done. Right. So I thought, I'll sit at home. I'll take a job from home and I work from home. And then, I never worked outside of education. I took a job for healthcare in the healthcare field, working for Humana from home, which was the ideal job because then we were going into the pandemic.
Okay, yeah.
I did that for about 6 months. And as a parent, you want to see your child successful and succeed just like you want to see every kid that you come across be successful and succeed. And during that time, we were in the pandemic. I was working from home. I had he was then 14 years old. I had a 14-year-old who was in junior high school, who was testing all the limits, going full range. And he struggled. He struggled so bad. And here I am, your mom's an educator. Right. Why are you struggling? So I knew that if my child was struggling, how many more children were out there struggling? Right. And then, so when they opened the buildings back up, I said, I need to get back in the arena. Nice. Go back in there and see what I can do to help further these children to be successful.
And that brings us to
I end up going to teach 3rd grade. Over at Reese Price. And that's where I met Gary Tate at. He ended up leaving and going on to better endeavors.
Shout out.
After that year, I was just like, okay, do I really want to do this? I always did an after school program for Imani, going into like 8 or 9 years and doing the after school program, being as a lead teacher for education, for the education piece here.
So pause 1 second. So the Imani wasn't something that birthed at that time. That you had already been doing that?
I had been doing it. I've been teaching during the day and coming to Imani in the afternoon and doing an after school program with them.
Wow. I thought it was going to lead up to that. Like, well, then the pandemic. So I decided to start. So you were already doing that.
I was already doing it, but I left. Remember when I retired, I left education altogether.
Okay.
So Imani was done. All of it was done.
Right.
I wasn't doing it anymore.
Okay. And Imani is you? You started that?
No, I didn't start
Imani.
Okay.
Who started that or what? Or not who, but more so when did you get in to doing that?
I started coming to Imani, I started working for Imani as a group lead over at Douglas Elementary.
Okay.
So I would do the academic piece, help to increase the test scores for third grade, in that aspect.
Gotcha.
And then they branched out, and Imani became down here at Rothenburg, and we had another site. The site at Douglas soon closed up.
Okay.
And I, after getting out of the arena of education altogether, and then coming back, I came down here to Rothenburg.
Gotcha.
So it was something that I always had under my belt, working with children in the after school program. When it was brought to me, my term is, get somebody else to do that. I'm not doing that.
Like, nah, I'm good.
It's not for me.
Thanks,
it's not for
no
me.
Thanks.
And so when they would ask me, I would be, get somebody else to do that. I was comfortable in the skin that I was in.
Right.
Didn't want to step outside of that. But then God said, I'm not done with you. Here's some more diamonds for you.
Yeah.
So he's dropping more diamonds in. At that time, I was summoned to go on missionary to Africa. And went to Africa on missionary, and the whole time he was downloading and downloading and downloading, and I kept saying, no, I said to get somebody else to do this. I don't want to do this. And lo and behold, I come back. They asked me would I consider taking a position for the after school program and administration. And I was like, I'll think about it.
Right. You said, I ain't trying to.
I want somebody else to do that.
Instead of saying no now, I'll just say I'll think about it and let them down later.
And
so you thought.
And God said, no, this is it. This is your time. And so this is where I've been for the last 3 years.
Nice.
Our program has been really successful. It's been successful since it started. I should say that. It's just grown leaps and bounds, I should say.
That's good, though.
With the staff, with the children, and just being able to reach many people within the community.
Nice. That's really cool. So from being in the classroom for 31 years, one of my favorite questions to ask is, what is the craziest, wildest thing that you have experienced, that you've seen or witnessed? It could be something with a parent or students or whoever.
Oh my gosh. I could tell you a story for days.
I bet you can.
Really
31 years.
I can tell you a story for days. But I'll tell you something that was life-changing to me.
Okay.
There was a girl who skipped my class.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw her, I saw her in the hall when I was going to the mailbox. I saw her in the hall when I went to the cafeteria, but she skipped my class. So when I saw her, my approach to her was, why'd you skip my class? And she's like, yeah, I can do what I want to do. And so it blew up. It was like the argument blew up. But later on, after I went back and I sat down and I started to think things over, I tell you, it's nothing like being engaged with the Holy Spirit. And
Facts.
He began to speak to me, and he said, you will go back and you would apologize to her, and you will let her know that at that time, she may have needed that break, but you're there for her. And I was like, right. My motto is get somebody else to do that.
Jonah said, go to Nineveh.
And I didn't. And so every time that this child would come in my class, it was an uncomfortable feeling. She would come after that blow up. She came and she faced me, but it was so uncomfortable. So one day.
And what grade was she in at this time?
She was in 9th grade at this time.
Okay.
She was in 9th grade at this time. And one day I was sitting at my desk. She came in and I'm putting attendance in. You got to get all that stuff in when they come in. So I'm putting attendance in and I'm giving instructions to the class. And he said, now. And I just got up and I said, can you step in the hallway? She stepped in the hallway and I said, first of all, I want to apologize to you for when you skipped my class. And me being the adult handled it in the wrong situation. She began to sob and she said, I never had an adult apologize to me for something that I was wrong for doing. So then we both began to sob. But that right there was a life-changing experience for me because all these years that I had under my belt with teaching, having to go and to apologize to a child. How many times do you say something, you're writing out something and you may offend a child, or
Right.
you may offend a parent or offend someone, and you don't even think twice about it.
Right.
But at
Right.
that time, it was brought back to me.
That's good.
And
That's
so just being able to have that set, that boundary, it set a whole different precedence for my classroom, for myself, for anybody that I came in contact with, and which led up to my career for the final 8 years after being successful.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Now, I thought you were going to you shared with me a story off camera that was very, very inspiring and touching. And can you share that story?
Oh,
do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yes,
the young
yes.
lady. That's where I thought you were going with that.
So
one.
I had another 9th grade class. Actually,
She
I
was
had
a
this
ninth
child.
grader?
I had this child in 7th to 8th grade, and by this time, I decided that I wanted to change age groups. So I went to 9th grade.
Okay. This girl
So
was
she's in 9th grade. She's in 9th grade.
Wow.
And so we thought that I thought that we could introduce something different to try to change the behavior and the atmosphere with these 7th and 8th graders who were now 9th graders, because they were 7th and 8th grade was like a hard knock life for some of them. So I thought we would bring yoga into our classroom, and that we would, we'll have a few minutes of yoga, meditate, and do this, and then we would go on into the education piece. So we were getting down on the floor to do yoga. I had an instructor come in to teach it. We're getting down on the floor to do yoga, and we only did it once a week. And she said, I can't get down on the floor. And I'm saying, why you can't get down on the floor? And she goes to share with me that she was pregnant. And I immediately wrapped my arms around her, hugged her, engaged her, and embraced her, and told her, you will graduate high school. And she said, I've never had anybody speak to me in that manner and tell me that. And I said, you will graduate high school.
That is awesome.
So we made a pact that she would graduate high school. Every year, the next grade, I always checked on her. She was still in the same building. I always checked on her. How you doing? What we're doing? If she got in trouble, they would call me. Can you come speak to her? We're having such problems. And so that fourth led to us building that bond.
For sure.
Let me wind back some. She had the baby. Actually February 2nd. My birthday is February 12th.
Wow.
Her mom's birthday was February 22nd. So she said there was some significance there with the twos.
That's so cool.
And she loved my son's name, Davion. So she named her baby Davion.
Oh. I didn't hear that part.
She then would call me like some mornings when she would get to school, or she couldn't come to school. She would call me, and she would call me on the cell phone or on my classroom phone and say, I can't come to school. And I'm like, why you can't come to school? And she's like, I don't have a babysitter. I said, well, you sneak in the side door, let nobody see you, and you come in. She would bring the baby in the side door. We would hide him under the desk. Now, I could have lost my job for this.
I was going to let you share this part of the story. Listen, I wasn't going to ask her about this part. I wasn't going to ask her about this part. But I said, well, she'll share whatever part she's most comfortable to share. But still, that's true. That it really happened. And, I mean, they can't go back now. That's
right.
past. But go ahead. Keep
we
going.
we would take and I would tell my class, every class that come in, I said, we have a job today. And they would say, we're babysitting? So they already knew. And I was like, yes. And he would be in his pumpkin seat under my desk. He would sleep most of the time. And the principal would stop in, and she's like, oh, I'm just checking. Like, they would stick their heads in the door. I'm just checking. Security would stick their heads in the door. And I'm thinking maybe they saw her come in the door, so they're looking to see if they see the baby. But he's under my desk in his pumpkin seat. And he didn't cry. The kids knew if I had to have security come watch my room, security would stand at the door so I can run out to go to the bathroom or something. And the kids wouldn't say anything.
Yeah, that's cool.
One kid would go sit in my seat to make sure that they kept the pumpkin seat rocking so that he wouldn't cry.
That's so cool.
But this child, she did graduate high school. And right before her graduation date, She had failed a class. And I had went on sick leave. So I had a sub in my classroom. And she came down and she said, I failed this class. Is there any way that you can get a hold of Miss McCullum? The school secretary called me and she's like, your child is having a hard time here. You're not here. We don't know what to do. She's failed this class. I said, can you get her on the phone? They brought her down to the office, got her on the phone. I said, you will go to night school. It wasn't night school. It was a credit recovery school. You will go to credit recovery school. I will help you get registered in credit recovery school because you will graduate. And now we're coming up on, this is her senior year. We're a few months away shy of graduation. I don't think it was even a few months because I had surgery like April 3rd. So graduation was like in a month or two.
Right.
You will graduate high school.
Yeah.
And so I said, you go and register. I will help you get registered. So I called to make sure that she can go get registered. She did. She called me back, said, I got registered. I said, okay, what do you need help with? She said, I just need a babysitter. So I said, you drop him off to me. I'm home on sick leave. You drop him off to me. We'll make it work.
Nice.
So she passed the class. She graduated.
Let's go.
And she's doing phenomenal for herself. She's doing phenomenal for herself. So we still keep in touch. We talk about those days that we sneak the baby in.
What a story though, you know? And I mean, for some, they may see, oh, well, you had this baby, you supposed to, but then for hopefully the majority of us, we can see your compassion, your availability to be there emotionally and connecting with her situation. And even from like the moment you embraced her and said, you will graduate, you know, and her, who knows how many times she might have heard the opposite of that, or, you know what I mean? Like just your ability to go above and beyond and be more than just an educator, more than just a teacher. And I hope that inspires somebody out there. And hopefully some of you have similar stories where a student of yours was really going through something and you were able to be there just to step in and step up and just help them out. And I hope that there's more stories like that every single day where students are in need and then you guys are there to step up and help out. And to be honest with you, that's why you're here right now. If you're here right now watching, it's because there's something in you that desires to grow, to become better, and you're watching and learning, and you're taking the nuggets you can take in. And that alone shows you care, which means you care about those students that you work with. So thank you for watching. Before we move on, go ahead and hit that like, hit that subscribe right now so that you can stay up to date with everything that's going on, all the YouTube stuff. Click all the buttons, click all the things. All right. Okay. So, man, you have gone through a lot. And you've done a lot for a lot of people. And there's no way you could have gone 31 years and not had the heart for young people and for serving them and helping them out. And that's the 31 years as a teacher, not counting all the time afterwards. You know, you've been still serving. Is there anything that you ever saw that you say, you know what, I needed that lesson, or I like the way that person did something, like a lesson that you learned, something where you were witnessing maybe a principal or another teacher doing something. You're like, oh, wow, like I like that. And you learned from it.
When I told you how our dynamics of teaching was changing back then, and I was teaching 2nd and 3rd grade. There was a 5th and 6th grade team who wanted me to become a part of their team. So I went over to that team. This is inner city kids. Alicia Smith and Renee Lampkin. She's Rashad now. Both former. Alicia is, I think now, deputy superintendent for CPS, and Renee Rashad is a retired principal. They both went on to pursue principalships and superintendentships and things like that. Those two women helped me to get my education piece to where it needs to be. As far as they were so phenomenal in teaching me what I needed to be successful as a teacher. I learned from them. I learned how to control my classroom. I learned how to bring it out, how to pour it out of the children, how to teach them to get to the next level. Just watching those ladies and them working with me inspired me to continue on. Because how many times that you get into it and you're like, I want to do this no more. Oh, it is.
Right. It's my last day. My last year.
I ain't coming back. This summer I'm done.
Right.
But what I can tell you, the love, the support,
Mm.
even at one time I had went back to school. Myself and Alicia both had went back to school, and we call ourselves dropping out of school.
We're
We ain't doing
done.
this.
We're done.
And she was working on her master's. We ain't doing this no more. But just the push, and now she's Dr. Smith.
Wow.
And some of the things I still talk to her. She still motivates me. She still encourages me. And just to have those people in your corner, says a lot. It says a lot. I couldn't have done it without seeing two young women who love what they did and inspired so many others. As I'm quite sure if you ask the spectrum of people who came across them in their careers, they would say how they inspired them.
Yeah, that's good. That's real good. That's real good. Well, man, I appreciate, again, you being here today and taking time to share your story and everything. And soon I want to get us to our winning plays. But I want to ask you, what is the wildest thing that you've ever seen? 31 years, what's something crazy that you saw?
Wild. I'm working on a high school campus. The kids can get wild.
Oh yeah.
The kids can get wild.
Oh yeah.
There were some resource officers who their office was right across from my classroom, so I got to know them. But one of the kids, there was a fight going on in the parking lot, and I heard one of the officers say, "Stop." And this fight continued on, and there was more people engaging into this fight. And then I saw the officer reach for his taser, and I'm like, no. That right there was wild to me.
Yeah.
Because I thought these are children. I don't want to see this happen to a child.
Yeah.
I know that there's other ways that we can handle this, but that was wild to me.
Yeah. Did he use it?
He reached for it, but the screams of us going, no.
Right.
And everybody trying to get in between and break this up.
Yeah.
Wow. He didn't use it.
So you guys were right there. It wasn't like from a window.
No.
Okay.
No, we were all walking to our cars. It was after school. They might have been something that a sports thing that was getting ready to take place. And so I didn't know why the kids were there. So
for that. Right.
Yes.
Right.
And after the screams of no, but that was wild to me. Very wild to me. I
wouldn't forget that either. Man. And then, with the what's happened to, the lives that have been lost, I'll say like that, based on, situations like that or similar to where someone has that, they're in that position to de-escalate, and sometimes they don't like to use their words and, it goes straight to their weapon or, whatever. And not talking about whoever this person was, but just dealing with that as just that whole thing. It's like you got young people, you got students, these babies out here, and sometimes they don't know how bad saying whatever they're trying to say is. They might think like, oh, it's nothing, I'm just saying this, or I got to get this off my chest. And it's like, no, what you did or what you said is really, really bad, and and there's other ways we need to go about handling that to try to help everybody de-escalate. But man, yeah, that would be one that I would remember if I was you as well. Man, that's tough. Any other ones you want to share? Anything else?
Oh gosh, I told you over the years, there's so many I could share with you. I said one day I was going to do that. I haven't got to that point because I haven't slowed down yet. But there's another one that comes to mind. We had we called this. It's called senior lock-in.
Okay.
So I would always volunteer to do senior lock-in. Of course, I had he wasn't a teenager then. He was like maybe 10 or 11.
Okay.
child at home, so he would have to come with me to do the senior lock-in.
Yeah.
And so they would senior lock-in. They do all kinds of things. They play basketball in the gym. They may have games going on in another area. Well, this thing they asked to play was hide go seek.
Oh my goodness. Sure, you can go play hide and go seek.
In the school building.
You seniors, was it seniors?
It was seniors because it was senior lock-in night.
Hide and go seek, yeah. We ain't having all of that. None of that shenanigans.
I remember the kids hide. Well, I'm thinking that they hiding.
Played?
Like, yes, we let them play it. We let them play it.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I guess I did ask the question I asked. Well, okay.
So I'm thinking like maybe they're just gonna hide on the first floor, but of course they go to the second floor.
No, they're not gonna hide on the first floor.
They're hiding in the basement.
Find the basement, right?
So we're taking account for kids, and I'm going to look for kids, and they're popping out of lockers, and I'm like, where? Like really though. So that was a lesson learned.
Oh my god.
That was a lesson learned.
Hide and go seek, sure, go ahead. That'll be fun. No, not with the seniors.
It's like, why did I ever say yes to this?
Oh my goodness.
That was a time to remember.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, for sure. All right. So at the end of every episode, we do our win and play. So you have option A and option B. Option A, you have principals, you have teachers, and you have parents. And you give 3 winning plays for each one, tips for each one. Then you have option B, you could choose to, instead of A, you could choose B, where you select one of them. You could choose principals only, or teachers only, or parents only. And then you can give them 5 winning plays, 5. So 5 over here or 3 each over here, option A. Which would you like to share with us today?
So principals, teachers, and parents.
And parents
is A, correct?
Correct.
I think I want to go with A.
All right. Now, before she gives us these 9 tips and tricks and winning plays, guys, make sure you go and hit the like button, the subscribe button, and share this with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Share it with as many people as you like, but please share it with somebody so that we can get the numbers up, so that YouTube knows this is content that's good for other educators, other people that are interested in growing and helping them to develop as a better servant to students. So thank you for that. Like and subscribe. Let's get to it.
So principals. One thing I would say about principals being in the education field is being in control of your environment, of your building, and setting the precedents for your building.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that because you're the principal that it has to run by your way, but you want everybody to be on board with you to run a successful school building.
Yeah. That's good.
So that's one thing for principals. Another thing is to be engaged with your community, with your parents. Sometimes it takes getting out of the 4 walls and going out into your community to let people know, hey, I'm the principal at Rothenberg. I am here to help for you to succeed, for your child to succeed, because once we have everybody on board, it makes it so much better.
Right.
And then my next thing for principals is to always have an open door policy.
Is that for staff?
That's for everyone. That's for everyone. Because if they feel like you're listening, you're involved, you're there, you're going to get them in. Right. And you're going to all be on the same page. So that was my 3 things for principals.
That's good.
My 3 things for teachers. I always had this for myself. And I learned this working with the ladies that I worked with. There's a triangle, and there's the teacher, there's the parent, and there's the child, and we're working together for the benefit of the child.
That's good.
So just having that dynamic to be able to work together, because if you set that precedence first with the parent, then you have the child buy in, because they're going to be likely to listen and to hear you through. Right. The next thing for teachers is always to have an open mind. Not everything that we say in here means that it's doomed for us or doomed for them. but to have that open mind to always give grace
No,
and
that's
to
good.
let them set that race.
Mm-hmm.
How many times did you mess up and you
Right.
were given grace? um, Also for teachers, um, just to have that open door policy also.
Yeah, that's good.
um, Parents need to come in. Sometimes they're having a hard time with their child. They don't know how. Some parents are not as educated as the child. They may have not had went as far as education as the child. So just having that open door policy, because sometimes you have to educate the parent to educate the child, and sometimes you educate the child to educate the parent.
Yeah. It works all together. Like,
So
yeah, no, that's
just
good.
having that policy, and then for parents.
For parents, yep. Last but not least.
For the parents, sometimes parents are always on the defensive for their child. But who is the best advocate for their child? Is the parent.
Yeah.
So just having that openness, parents having that openness, be willing to communicate with that child, build that bond with that child's teacher. That child is with that teacher for 6 to 7 hours a day. Sometimes a lot longer than they're with you at home.
Right.
I'm thinking about it. I was a working parent. So I would get off of work. I would teach my kids in the car. We would be going over spelling words. We would be doing all kinds of things in the car. I would go home, cook dinner, get things ready. We didn't make a lot of money in education, so I had to go to another job. So then I was out the door again, going to another job. So a lot of times the educator spends more time with their children. So having that open doorness as a parent. Also, as a parent, be willing to participate at your child's school.
Get on out.
Parent engagement.
You're talking about like field trips or like involved in the building?
Involved in the building. When we see the community come together for the benefit of the children, what a world of a difference it makes. To have, back in the days, when we was raised, our parents were there. I mean, we had a community. We had a village, I should say. So grandparents, aunties, uncles. If mom couldn't be there, who was there? Auntie was there. If auntie couldn't be there, who was there? Grandma was there. Somebody was there to support. So just having that presence of stepping in and being that village again. Being that village again. And then lastly, but not leastly for the parent, is to be that listening device. We let social media be that listening device for so many children at this time, that gaming. Take that away sometimes. Be that listening device. Let me hear you out. Let's read this book together. Let us do this together. Just being that, taking that precedence over everything else for your children.
Man, that's good.
And I think that if we can start to put those tips in play, hey, we'll have some diamonds thrown all over the place.
Hey, you hit it. And that's phenomenal, man. I appreciate all of those winning plays. And there's some, I mean, I got one for myself out of that. I was like, oh man, because my kids right now, they're on this like reading thing where they're just reading like crazy in the summertime, and they were trying to, win the library, whatever package or, award, prize, drawing, whatever. And I know just to be able to hear, like, because they're telling me all the time about the books and stuff like that. And I'm trying to make sure that they are reading. But especially with the youngest one, maybe even the youngest two, I might be able to do more by jumping in and, reading with them. I think that would be cool. So thank you for that, because I hadn't really thought about that before. Now, the oldest two, I'm not reading with them. They tell me everything about the book anyway. They're the main two. They're like, Dad, I just read the whole book. But they're telling me about it. So, I still get to hear about it. But the youngest two, I think I would enjoy spending some time with them, getting in a book with them, and really.
But what better way to engage? What better way to say that I'm hearing you out, I'm listening, and at the same time, they're gaining knowledge, they're gaining your confidence, they're gaining everything that you would need for your child.
Right. No, that's good. That's really good. That's really good. Is there anything else before we get up out of here? And thank you so much again for taking time out of your busy day. Y'all, I witnessed she's running things over here, so she's very busy. I mean, I can't even tell what just happened with all the people that was coming down here, and they up there waiting on you and all stuff but I thank you for taking time. I really do appreciate you. Is there anything that you want to say? Anything left you like to share with last final words? Anything like that?
No, I just want to thank you.
Oh,
Thank you for giving me the opportunity, because sometimes we feel like we're heard, but we're not heard. And just being able to share this with so many other people. If you like and share, it's going to be shared with so many other people.
even more.
And they will get that chance to hear. Sometimes your story, you want your story told. How are you going to get your story told?
Right, right.
So I just want to just thank you for letting me be able to tell some bits and pieces into my 31 and a half years of education.
I mean, we couldn't do it all in one setting, boy, I tell you what. But no, thank you. I appreciate you again, and your time spent as an educator. Appreciate that. There's nobody that I can think of that's been in education that long that wasn't a very caring person, and thought about the kids and put them first, and was loved and remembered by many. I mean, if you go 30 years plus and people don't remember you, then somehow you mess some things up in there. So I mean, that would be a hard thing to accomplish.
My son says all the time, "Can we go somewhere that nobody don't know you?"
Bingo. There you go. Yep. Well, you done taught everybody.
He said everywhere we go, "Hey!" I'm like, "Oh."
Yep.
He said you'll get as popular as me one day.
There you go. Well, thank you again for being here today. I appreciate it. And thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button, all that good stuff. And if there is nothing else, this is your boy, Sean Gary, and I'm out. Peace.